Yo, good people. It's your homie HerbMan. Busting you back upside the head with another hot banger. Boogie, please go tell somebody your homie HerbMan is on. And if you're new to the program, welcome. Please follow, like, share, and subscribe on all of the platforms at Love HerbMan. All right. So welcome to the HerbMan Show. This is where we teach people how to heal themselves, and you cannot heal yourself if you do not know thyself. And so we teach you here about the human frame and the human design so that you can be well on your way to happiness, wholeness, and wellness. Now I'm gonna tell you guys today, I am liberated. I am into the consciousness. I'm into the moment. I am riding the waves, and I got something special for you guys today. So please go tell somebody that your homie HerbMan is on, all right? And once we get to 1,000 likes, we'll get into this subject matter at hand, all right? And I want you guys to understand that this is free information, baby. You don't have to pay for anything that you hear. All right. But what I want you to do is pay attention, and how we know to do that is by double tapping that screen and getting us up to 100,000 likes during the broadcast. All right. And if you do that, if you keep tapping, I'll keep talking and walking you into your healing. OK, because we're going to teach you how to get to your happiness, wholeness, and wellness, whether you like it or not. Okay. And so go ahead and let everybody know that your homie HerbMan is on. I came at a different time today, you guys. I want to really emphasize. This was in my spirit. These right here, these little 3 letters, this was in my spirit. And this ain't got nothing to, matter of fact, I'm gonna wait till y'all get 1,000 likes. We're coming live from South Africa. We're live on TikTok. We're live on YouTube, you guys. Please go ahead and subscribe, follow, do whatever you got to do to be notified when the HerbMan Show comes on. All right. So we're gonna try to ride on into the 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. But whatever, if we do, if we don't, we don't. The bottom line is you're gonna be able to get this because we're coming live on YouTube. That hopefully, if they don't mess with my YouTube channel, that'll be saved as well. Okay. But I really got some in-depth knowledge putting all this stuff together, trying to get you guys to understand exactly what you're seeing when you're talking about the spiraling life, or when you're talking about the root to the shoot, the polarity of all things. Okay. We as mankind, meaning men and women, have gotten to a point to understand the importance of polarity. And what I'm trying to, and have always been preaching to you guys, is that the gurus and the monks and the people before us, the yogis, when they was meditating and when they was doing all this stuff, they didn't value the lower self, because the lower self was seen as sin. It was seen as wrong. It was seen as diabolical. It was seen as the thing that you got to get rid of. So you would sacrifice it in the wrong way. And this is what happens when you put electricity in the baby's hand. And when we're working with this power, the power never changes, but the maturation and the development change. Same power in the hand of will burn your house down. That very same power in the hand of the professional will light your house up. So then you understand that with this knowledge, if you don't know how to apply it and understand it, you'll burn your house down with it. But as you maturate and get to a point of sufficiency and efficiency within the development of this subject matter, then you'll see that with that same power, you can light yourself up. And what I'm trying to get you to understand is that very thing. That right now, because of your ignorance, the intellectual side of you is the ruler of your life. But if you only knew that intuition is also beneficial with you in this walk, so you don't have to necessarily sacrifice the intellect to be intuitive. You don't have to sacrifice the body to go to heaven. You don't have to die to go to heaven. Okay? So the point of the matter is that because of our limited understanding of spiritual things, we intellectualize or literalize. You know how many people literalize the Bible? You really think Jesus was real? You really think he said that? You really thought those 12 disciples? You really think they would live? You really thought Adam and Eve really were here? You really thought that story real? Because you literalize or spiritualize things. Same as our ancestors did. Your lower self is not the negative or the wrong in you. Your lower self is an actual valid energy that is necessary for you to excel and succeed in this environmental stimuli. The only caveat is it's not the only thing that you possess. You also possess some intuitive abilities because there are going to be environmental stimuli that will require you to be able to just walk into some things with your unction or walk away from some things with your unction. And that needs to be also developed, as also the physical fitness is the spiritual fitness. And nobody's been teaching you about it. So the gurus and the yogis and the monks saw that if we demolish and if we deprive it, so the flesh will get to some spiritual enlightenment. And the thing is that they did, but they were not able to live long enough to come back to tell you the story. So here's the thing. Everlasting life has always been the objective because that's always been the secret. The secret is you can live forever. You can be immortal. So the attempts have always been to immortalize oneself, with the defect is that you got to suppress, depress, oppress the physical body. And I'm here to tell you today in 2025 that as much information as we've accumulated and as much information as we've learned from all those who have written these rules and understandings and opinions and facts in blood, that as you continue to be a student of history of mankind, medicine, and all these types of things, you'll realize that this is how you can be greater works than these. This is how you can do greater works than our ancestors, is by understanding what is the stumbling block that our ancestors had to deal with that we now can understand and be able to get away over. And the thing is that it was a limited amount of information at that time. Now use the information that you have with the inclination that they had, and now you got a recipe for evolution of mankind. So they were told that the lower self was something that needs to be sacrificed, and it was looked at mentally from a human construct as this is the evil in me, so I must deprive it. I'll starve it of this, starve it of that, starve it of this, and starve it of that, to where I don't ever feel these emotions. So I can go to a mountain, I can be a nun, to some kind of church, synagogue. So I get away from the thing, and I never be able to really. You're trying to get out scot-free. But Jesus didn't live that way. Jesus wasn't no nun. He wasn't no monk. He saw some ass too. He just didn't fuck it. But he got to see how it feel to want to fuck it. But don't fuck it. See, but you don't want to feel how it feel to fuck it and don't want to fuck it because you're too weak to beat the flesh. So when you want to fuck it, you're going to go fuck it. When you want to drink it, you're going to go drink it. When you want to smoke it, you're going to go smoke. When you want to smoke, when you want to eat it, you're going to go eat it. When you want to, see, you're going to go do it. But see, Jesus was around all that. Y'all niggas in here drinking? Give me a couple glasses of, pour me some lemonade. I don't still be in here laughing and giggling with you, but I want lemonade while y'all drinking your beer. It was an understanding that I can be the value of the flesh. The value of the flesh is that it will take you to places and you will do things that you need to do. But you must understand that there's a paradigm between the root and the shoot. Okay, the root and the shoot. There's an understanding between the lower self and the higher self. There's a working relationship that has to be established between the two. You can't keep ignoring the value of the flesh. So you drinking yourself to sleep, eating yourself to sleep, smoking yourself to sleep, fucking yourself to sleep, working yourself to sleep, working yourself to death. All these things you're doing because you don't value the physical part of it. Oh, well, we're going to die anyway. Everybody said we're going to. Yeah. So that's anybody that tell me that you believe in death, anybody tell me that you ain't going to live forever, that automatically lets me know that you can't be a part of what we're teaching. We're teaching life, not death. This is not a God consciousness in the way that you think it is. This is not you trying to be God. This is a statement. Somebody put in the chat. This is a statement right here, you guys. This is not about being God. This ain't got nothing to do about it being a God. This is a statement. This is a statement to understand that where my physical body at, if I wanted to be with my mind at, I must make a statement. If my body is sick, remember we're talking about polarity. Polarity, you got the root of the plant and you got the shoot of the plant. Polarity is when the roots go down and then the plant grows up. So you have this charge, this positive and negative charge. You have this reaction. You have this result that comes from this evolution, this flow of energy. And so what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you must understand that the root going down is also the shoot going up, and the deeper the root, the higher the shoot. And shoot is everything that's above the ground. So the shoot is the bark, the shoot is the flower, the shoot is the berry, the shoot is the fruit, the nut, the shoot is the leaves. So my point to you is that you must understand the value of the rooting system in order to understand how to get healed. But here's the thing though, if you're sick, you need that in order to be healed. I'm going to hit y'all today now. I'm going to teach y'all today. This is live on YouTube and TikTok. You need sickness in order to be healed. You need to be poor in order to be rich. Because it takes the two energies to produce what you're looking for. So the body can be somewhere while the mind is somewhere else. So my body physically, you would call it poverty. But my mind is rich in studying how to be rich. So what it is that I need poverty body, but I need a rich mind. And then the negative and the polarity. I need a sick body, but I also need I can heal myself mind. So that the polarity. See, you sick, but you sick minded. You sick in the body, but you sick in the mind. It ain't gonna work. You got two negatives. Not two wrongs. Not two bads. But two negative energies don't cause the charge. See, you pull in the body, but you also pull in the mind. These are two negatives. It don't cause the charge. Please, you guys, keep tapping and I'll keep talking. So what we're trying to get you to understand is that it's okay to be sick, but it's not okay to be sick-minded. So the polarity is the negative. The polarity is the charge. Sickness is not a wrong. Sickness is not a bad. Sickness is a frequency. It's a negative but a negative ain't bad or wrong. Sickness is a frequency that done came in. So what that sickness frequency is requiring is a healing frequency. And the polarity of the two will cause a charge of healing of the body. And again, when you're sick-minded. So you don't get this. You don't get a healing. I'm going to heal myself. You don't get that in your mind. 7 times Jesus. 7 times Jesus, your Jesus. 7 times your Jesus said these words. I am. I am the vine. I am the door. I am the resurrection and the life. I am the truth and the life, right? I am the path. I am everything, right? What else he said? I know one thing he said was, I find it not robbery to be equal with God. And he found it not robbery to be equal with God in these statements. So again, this is not a thing of saying that you are God. I don't want to start that conversation. That's for other folk. What I'm trying to say is that this is a statement of saying that when you're sick, who is your healer? Come on, somebody. When you are sick, who is your healer? When you are sick, how you gonna heal? Who gonna heal you? When you are sick, who gonna heal you? When you are sick, who gonna motherfucking heal you, man? And it ain't me. It ain't Yaki. It ain't Patrick Dales. Stop believing in this shit. It ain't Dr. this and Dr. that. It ain't PhD this and PhD that. The man said, I find it not robbery to be equal with this consciousness, this present consciousness in this moment. I am that I am. I am it. I am what I'm seeking. I am that which I am desiring. It is the I am in me because I am my own healer. So again, body can be potent, but mind can't be to produce the polarity. Body can be sick, okay? But mind can't be to produce the polarity. You see that? You see that? Okay? The body can be where you need it, where it's at. But the mind can be somewhere else. And with that polarity, we're creating this energy. Okay, so now you start to create this energy. So the root chakra, when you're looking at the spiral understanding of life, each one of these particular levels of life is a progression. So even though you are being reincarnated or reborn or whatever you want to say, you want to call, even though you are coming back to learn these lessons, you're not coming back in the same place. You come back at a heightened state because everything progresses. So this knowledge and this understanding that we're presenting to you guys is allowing you to understand why we know what we know. So that when you give me your birthday, when you give me these numbers that you don't even think anything about, we can tell you everything about you by your birthday. How this is a phenomenon. How could he tell us about our health and our this and our that with our birthday? It's because this is the old ancient system of the paradigm. But my point to you is that this is all mathematical understanding. I am is a mathematical understanding, but all of this is a mathematical understanding for us to understand exactly what we need to do to get back into balance with where we are in this paradigm. This is environmental stimuli. You're responding to the environmental stimuli too sympathetically. And the reason why you're responding to the environmental stimuli too sympathetically is because you're always being surprised, which means that you're not learning. Because the bottom line is that this is cyclical in nature. So we know that this shit gonna come back around. You know, winter gonna come, summer gonna come, spring. But you keep bumping into these seasons of life mistakenly, like you don't fucking know what's going on with you. Because you ain't learning the cyclical understanding of nature and its patterns. The cyclical understanding of nature and its patterns is that it is always going to be a consistent ball of changes. You ain't got that by now. Things will change. You go from a baby or from a sperm to an elder. You go. These are cycles and stages, progression, always happening. Okay, progression is always should be happening through these particular moments in your particular lifetime. But what's happening is you're being buffed up because of your ignorance, and out of your ignorance, you are creating industry, which is why people are shopping and selling you any and everything on Temu, Take-A-Lot, Amazon, and whoever else you at. Because out of your ignorance of your design, you have to go and codepend on somebody else that you think may know you better than you. But am is not about being God. I am is a statement about being able to take control back over your life. And who gonna do it? Who gonna fix you? Who really gonna get down into the nuts and bolts of you to get you the way you really want to be? I am. Gotta take over. It's gotta be that mentality in you. You ain't even got to be God, but you can be I am. One man, one God. You ain't even got to say you God, but you can be I am. So when you're looking at this particular paradigm, then you must understand the polarity of it all. I need for you to be sick if you're trying to be healed. You can't heal a healthy body. So if you are sick, that's fine. That's okay. Sickness comes. It's seasonal. If you are sick, that's okay. Sickness comes. It's seasonal. If you are poor, it's okay. It's seasonal. If you are lonely, that's okay, you guys. It's seasonal. Remember that the cyclical understanding of nature is that it's a consistent ball of changes. But what I'm saying is, how do I use sickness as an energy, understanding that it is one? Sickness is a frequency, it's an energy that you're holding on to that is resonating in your body. So therefore, okay, how to eradicate sickness? I must say that I am my own healer in my mind. To eradicate sickness, I must say that I am my own healer in my mind. To eradicate brokenness or poverty, I must say that I am rich in my own mind. And then guess what happens is that this is a series of events that starts to progress to where you start to learn how to get out of poverty. Learn. You start to learn how to get out of sickness. Learn. You start to learn how to get out of loneliness. Learn. So once you got the polarity of my situation versus my mind situation, I'm fucked up, but I want to be the way I need to be. Now that polarity will cause a change. But some of you and most of us broke and we broken minded. We lonely and lonely minded. We sick and sick minded. You see what I'm trying to get you to see? I don't mind the problem. But can we be solution minded when we are enduring a problem? Or we just problem minded on top of the problem? Well, I got this little bump right here. So I Googled it and it said that it might be a Come on, y'all. You see, that's a problem and a problem mind. I got this little bump right here and I Googled it and it said it a problem. You got a problem, you feel something, and then you problem minded to try to figure out what the problem really is. No, when I don't give a damn what I got, what's the solution? I don't need to know the name of it. I don't need to know what it is. I know that it's a defect from my original design. A bump is a defect from your original design. A dysfunction in your organs or whatever cellular structure is a defect from your original design. I don't need to know the name of it because man's name ain't gonna do me no justice anyway. You just need to know that this ain't the way it's supposed to work, and then you find the solution. Correct? So that's what we're teaching you guys here with the I am mentality. This ain't, again, let me keep repeating this because I know how y'all live. This is not about being no God. This is a statement to let the energy in the atmosphere know that I am going to get through this shit. I am going to live forever. I am going to keep my marriage. I am going to heal myself. I am going to heal my family. I am the generational, the person that's going to break the curse. I am. It's me. I take full responsibility for whatever going on in my life, in my macrocosm and microcosm, that I am the solution to my problem. Oh man, let me stop playing with y'all, man. Y'all go ahead and keep tapping the screen. I'll keep talking, but y'all ain't really ready for what I came for today. But I came energized and ready to show you what thus said nature within me. Okay, so we got receipts. Let me show you guys some receipts. We got receipts. Yeah, I'm cooking right now, but we got receipts. Let me see what we got for you guys. I got a little bit of receipts, not a whole bunch, but I want you guys to understand the root to the shoot. Okay, the root is an energy in a plant that forces that energy to go down deep into the earth. And the product, the result of this energy surging downward produces something going up. Now, y'all don't understand anything about a lot of different things, but that same dichotomy is also in your elevator. So they're going to create a shaft deep in the ground that's going to represent how high it can go. Now, obviously, anything over 5 feet, they don't do that no more. So if it's 5 or 6 stories high, they're going to take it from the top down, right? So it's a levee. But when you're talking about from 5 stories up, this polarity, the deeper the root, the higher the shoot. Polarity. The deeper the sickness, but the higher the healing consciousness, you can produce your healing. Okay? So what we get for you and what we got for you in this particular paradigm is when we take your honest manual with your birthday and get you to understand this thing, we can be able to get in contact with what it requires for you to get over the hump. Okay? And there's always going to be some spiritual and physical tendencies there. Always going to be some physical and spiritual tendencies. Let me see if my receipts won't come up, man. What's going on? Receipts. What's going on, receipts? Everybody hear me well? Put some ones in the chat if you guys can hear me well. YouTube, can you guys hear me well? YouTube, can you hear me well? Put some ones in the chat if you guys can hear me well on YouTube. I got the audience that I'm looking for, but I don't know why my receipts won't come up. But I tell you, man, TikTok, social media bullshit. Yeah, it's crazy. Sorry about that, Audrey. I didn't ask you to come up unless you want to come up. So I do. I'm lost for words. This information is pulling up out my core. Yeah. YouTube, can you guys hear me? YouTube, is everything good over in YouTube land? It looks like the connection is well over here, but just a little feedback would allow me to know to continue to keep going and continue to keep talking as you guys continue to keep tapping. Okay, I just want to make sure that everybody is good, you guys, because I need this to be recorded. I need this to land on the internet, you guys. Okay, we need for this to land. Everybody's been talking about this, years and years of scientists and years of theorists and Pythagorean and all these type of, when you're talking about the Fibonacci, all of this stuff, that's this, right? The 1.6818 or whatever, all this type of stuff. Everything is in all of this stuff, but basically at the end of the day is forget all of that stuff and get down to what can this do for me? What can Fibonacci do for me? What can phi do for me? Pi do for me? What can the sun's ecliptic and being indigenous, and what can be in Africa? What me knowing that I'm African, what the fuck is that gonna do for me? What is it gonna do for me to know all of this shit that you guys are talking about? And remember that I'm trying to tell you guys that consciousness is not an accumulation of a whole bunch of information. That's not the definition of consciousness. Consciousness is being in the present moment. Okay, consciousness is simply being present. Okay, consciousness is simply being present. Being conscious is simply being present. It has nothing to do about 19 keys, and it ain't got nothing to do with that. They got intelligence. Those brothers are solid in what they do. What I'm trying to get you to understand is the quality of the information that I'm giving you is that consciousness is not an accumulation of a bunch of knowledge. It's not about how much you know. It's not about the quality of what you know. It's not even about knowledge in itself. Consciousness is about the presence of the moment, being present in the moment. And what you realize is that the hooping and hollering preachers back in our day, yeah, they might not have known how to read the Bible. They might not have been graduated from high school, but at the end of the day, they were understanding how to be present in the moment. Every day I come up to here, I don't have a script. I don't have something written. I don't do none of that shit. But I show you how to be present in the moment. And when you're present in the moment, you'll be able to ride the waves of that knowledge. And see, what you don't understand is when you're talking, you ain't thinking. And when you ain't thinking, then that means that you're flowing. And so you must understand that when you are speaking, you ain't thinking. And so when you speak, then that means if you're not thinking, you're riding with the waves of life and what you get in the speech. So my point to you is that consciousness is being in the present moment. So when you are sick in the present moment in your body, you need to be healed in you need to be in the I am consciousness. I am my own healer consciousness in the present moment of the mind. When the doctors say you presently got this disease, you need to be able to say, I presently got this mentality, this healing mentality. When I'm presently broke, I got to be presently rich-minded to get me out of brokenness. And that's what's not happening. But that's what's possible. Okay? It's simple. It ain't rocket science, but I gotta teach y'all this way because for some reason y'all think it's difficult. Okay? So we gotta teach you this way. Everything that you've heard, but I'm giving you in a different, I'm serving it to you. Look, everybody done had some catfish, but some folk know how to cook that catfish better than other folk now. Everybody done had some collard green. But there's some folk that know how to cook collard green better enough. Everybody has some mac and cheese, but there's some folk mac and cheese, there's a fire. So my point to you is I ain't telling you nothing new, but my recipe, may be a little bit new to you. Okay? So this is what we got to understand is the being in the present moment. How many of you can be in the present moment, or do you understand what being in the present moment really is? So my point to you is that presently you sick. But can you say in your mind that presently you are your own healer? Presently you're broke. But can you say in your own mind, presently, I'm going to be rich? Because what I'm saying to you is that in this mindset, there is things that are going to happen. Remember the shoot, the root to the shoot, right? The root to the shoot, okay? Along this line is a bunch of stems, bark, leaves, and fruit, okay? From the root to the shoot, a bunch of this shit is stems and bark and leaves and fruit. But we understand that it's necessary to have power down here in order to have power up here. So my point to you is that in the root of the body, this is the body, the root. In the root, there's sickness. It can't be sickness in the shoot. Otherwise, there's no way to save you. And that's why we are dying. And death is the failure of the test. People ask me all the time, I do feel like I've been here and I've came back. It's because you are a bona fide failure and you're starting to remember. Death is failure of the assignment. Death is failure of the assignment. If you manage to come into this paradigm being born and you die, death is an indicator that you failed the test. What test? What is he talking about? I didn't even know somebody would give me no test. Everlasting life has always been the secret of the gods, secret of the things, because the earth is everlasting. And man has always understood that, okay, we must resemble nature. Nature is never, earth ain't going nowhere. Sun ain't going nowhere. The water ain't going nowhere. The air ain't going nowhere. And these are the four elements of immortality. The sun ain't going nowhere. The earth ain't went nowhere. The water ain't going nowhere. And the air ain't going nowhere. And the planets ain't going nowhere. Well, sometimes the planets can go somewhere. But those other things are four elements of immortality. So what this thing is trying to get you to understand is that if you can't exemplify the nature in which you are an organism of, then that's the failure of watching your mom and your daddy. That's the failure of copying the mom and daddy. That's the failure of being in the image of God. He said, I made you in my image. She said, I made you in my image. It said, I made you in the image of me. But if you die, then you ain't me, because I don't die. I'm God. If you Man. Okay, hold on. Pause for a second. Okay? I'm trying to give you these nuggets to get you to understand that you've never been on track, even though you thought you was. Because you really don't understand what a God consciousness is. And so therefore, you must understand that you got it, but you ain't never stepped into it yet. Now, how do we do that? Is by understanding that until you death is the direct opposite, the nemesis, the enemy of everlasting life. You reading about everlasting, but everybody's dying. The pastor who's teaching you everlasting is dying. The rabbi who's teaching you everlasting is dying. I just witnessed a genius the other day. Chinese genius, a Japanese genius. I'm sorry, I ain't even gonna this Japanese genius died. But the same shit he was teaching about died. Y'all ain't never asked, what did Dr. Laila Africa die from? He was only 70-some years old. What did Dr. Laila Africa die from? You never questioned that? You just said, oh, Dr. Laila Africa, I'm going to buy his books. He was fine. Why the fuck he knew all that shit and died 70-something years old? Why did Dr. Paul Goss die? This man done came out with all these products selling around the world, and everybody going and get all this stuff from Dr. Paul Goss. Dr. Paul Goss died in his 70s. One of the most world-renowned naturopaths. Anybody ask that question? But then you got Emma Dupree that died damn near 2 years before Hunter. You got Dr. Dr. I don't even like to really call her name, because y'all go Google her and try to find her. I don't really like to call her name. But Marty Scott, damn near Hunter. Selling herbs, healing people, women. What's my man name down there? Don Julio. I always call him, I call him Don Julio down now in Belize. World-renowned healer. Lived to be a Honda, selling herbs and healing people. So then why is it that now the healers of today, you leaving here at 70 talking about you know something about life? Y'all better get y'all ass woke up. Yeah. Y'all better wake y'all motherfucking ass up, man. Stop listening to these folk, man. It's no joke. These folk don't want you to be in no everlasting and continue to get the resources of nature. This is supposed to be a temporary thing, right? Remember that nature is a consistent pattern of changes. So they'll rather keep that understanding than for you to be able to last throughout those changes. So what I'm teaching you is how to last throughout the changes. That you're going to have a little spring, but you got to know how to last through spring, right? That you're going to have a little summer, but you got to know how to last through that summer. Yeah, you're going to have a little fall, but you got to know how to last through that fall, right? But yeah, you're going to have a little winter, and you got to know how to last through that as well. See? So the bottom line is they don't want you to be everlasting. How do I ever last? Because you're going to be primed and ready for the changes. So yeah, we can't stop changes, but we can prepare for the changes. Preventative maintenance at its best. And prevention is cheaper than the cure. And for your measly, funky $50 is what we offer you with your honest man. And if you're interested in your honest manual, please DM me and we'll get you the information that you need. Now let's keep it moving. All right. So now you have these dimensions of the 7 levels or the chakras that's representing the root and the chakra and the solar plexus and the heart chakra and the throat, the third eye and the crown. And then we're understanding that what grasps us is the fear and guilt and self-control and grief and doubt and delusion and attachment issues in life. So now we have a spiritual essence of the spiraling understanding of life. Remember that, yes, you may come back in the paradigm, but you're always progressing. So yeah, you may enter the lesson, you may enter the same lesson, but not at the same stage. Okay? You may enter the lesson, but not at the same stage. You will always progress because the test is almost trying to get you. You know how some of them teachers used to give us the answers, especially the substitute teachers. Like, shit, I ain't trying to fail nobody. Look how I ain't even trying to grade. I'm gonna give y'all the answers. So some of this is gonna help you get to that everything. But see, you see everlasting down there. So either you're gonna be everlasting reborn. Okay, everlasting. Either you're gonna go through everlasting rebirth, or you're gonna have everlasting one birth. Woo! Hey, ain't nobody ever said that on national TV, social media, or anything. This is the everlasting that you choose in the paradigm. Okay? If you don't understand what I just said right then you ain't on the level that you need to be on, and you can move on to another channel. Nobody's ever said this on live TV, on broadcast, anything. You got 2 ways to do everlasting. You can be everlasting reincarnated because your ass gonna be everlasting ignorant, or you can wake up out your motherfucking way. Get your goddamn ass up. You can wake up and you can be everlasting only one time. One birth, not a rebirth. One birth, not a rebirth. So that one rebirth is going to be when you illuminate the mind. Remember that we got the womb of the body and the womb of the mind. We started from the womb of the mind, and then you came out of the womb of the body. Now you must go back home, and going back home, you can't go back between your mama's legs. She's too old, and you can't. That ain't even biologically possible. So how do you go back home? And you must go back home through the womb of the mind. You must be able to penetrate and have intercourse with your mind in order to be able to reincarnate or reborn yourself again. So what we're trying to say is then that means that I can just use this one body because I can't go. Listen to me. You can't go back into their mama's body. So that means that you must. So you can't get a new body. So that means that you must body preserve this body because you can't go back and get a new body. You can't. So don't die, y'all. You can't go die because you can't get a new body. Please don't die. You be healed and reborn by the renewing of your mind. Please stop dying. The human design is not meant for you to die. Yes, that's a sickness there. Yes, there's a imbalance there, but it's not meant for you to die. It's environmental stimuli. How will you respond? How will your immune system respond? How will you innately respond to environmental stimuli? There's a frequency that came in and started to infest itself. But what is your response? You can't go back into the body to come back again. So you go back into the mind. Please keep tapping, you guys. I'll keep talking. Please keep tapping, and I'll keep talking. So everlasting, either you're going to be everlasting recycling, going back through this spiralization again, or we start to learn how to do this one time the right way. You get all this information with your honest man. Any questions thus far? What's happening? Any questions thus far? Any questions thus far from anybody on TikTok and YouTube right now? Do you got any questions for me? I can tell you where you at in life based on your disease and based on your birthday. And this is not something new. I don't need tarot cards to do this. I don't need your blood type to do this. I don't need your blood sample. I don't need your stool sample, your urine sample. I don't need your tiding. I don't need your anything for me to get you to understand that I know you based on the numbers or based on the information that you give. It is because this is a quality that has always been here since the beginning of time in people like me, called shamans and root doctors, and called the natural healers of the time, because we were able to talk back to nature. There's a quality in talking to nature. Because plants talk, and plants know how to understand energy just like a pet. And did you not know that when you come home, did you not know that your plant know you're 15 minutes away, just like your pet do? See, this is real shit. Go research. Did you not know that your plant know your voice like your pet do? Did you not? See, y'all didn't even know that. Let me repeat that. Did you not know that your plant will perk up 15 minutes before you come home like your pet do? Did you not know that your plant know your voice like your pet do? So it is in this understanding of plant. So what happens is a mother cell turns into daughter cells. And you call that mitosis. That's the original way to build up. That's the original way to build up. What you don't want is meiosis. You want mitosis, but you don't want meiosis. Okay? You want mitosis, but you don't want meiosis. Okay? You don't want meiosis. Because this is when you get into some situations you ain't got no business being there. You want apoptosis. Because this is the original cell death. This is the original cell death. This is also going to be how the cells keep balance. What you don't want is necrosis. You don't want necrosis, okay? Because that means that your cells are toxins and all this type of stuff, and you can't get that. Come on, son. So you must understand that, right? So now you understand that there is a proper balance that the cells will go through, okay, in order to keep you balanced. There's a proper birth, mitosis, and a proper death, apoptosis, to keep you balanced. There's a proper birth, mitosis, and a proper death, apoptosis, to keep you balanced. But then there's an improper death, okay? There's an improper birth, right? Meiosis, and an improper death, necrosis, that'll keep you in these particular death paradigms. I am one of the best herbalists on the planet. I'm one of the best biologists. I know everything about your body, you guys. So please, I know I don't talk a lot about herbs and body parts and stuff, but that don't mean that I don't know it. Okay? People who've been watching me for years know I started in that level. Okay, I started wowing you guys with the knowledge of the body. We're moving on to something else now. Okay, we're moving on to something else. But do understand that, yes, we do know all of this stuff, and that's why we're backing the owner's manual. Because of my knowledge of biology, because of my knowledge of physiology, because of my knowledge of biochemistry, because of my knowledge of phytonutrients, and because of my knowledge of herbs, I understand that all of that ain't better than this. Because this gives me a system that incorporates all of that to where I don't try to figure it out myself. So I'm dependent on nature more than dependent on me. Okay? So now we understand a proper birth is mitosis, and a proper death is apoptosis, right? But these proper births and deaths are not proper in the way that you're saying. They're more proper in the way that they keep balance. Mitosis and apoptosis keeps balance. Meiosis and necrosis keeps imbalance. Okay, so now we understand that if you're telling me everlasting life and rebirth and then everlasting life one time, one of them keep balance and the other one don't. Now you say, well, 1 billion cells die in my body and then there's another 1 billion born. Ain't that balance? Shouldn't we die off in order to live on? But my point to you is this right here. And that's a great question because none of y'all asked me that shit. So let me answer because I guess I got to be my best student and best teacher. So guess what? Great question, student. Isn't death a balance? Great question. And the answer is only for everybody underneath the human species. Death is imminent for everything animalistic or living organism under the human species. And the only reason why the human species has a caveat is because of the mind's power. Only way. Other than that, yes, death will be imminent for you too. If you was ignorant as fuck, death would be imminent for you. If you was the caveman, if you was still in your caveman mentality, still in your Flintstone mentality, still in your motherfucking Martin Luther King mentality, still in your goddamn Hitler mentality, if you was still in your Putin mentality, if you was still in your Napoleon mentality, if you was still in your Shaka Zulu mentality, if you was still in these mentalities, yes, death is imminent for you. But because you're the human species, you can evolve and your spirit can do more than the animals can. And so my point to you is that the only motherfucking caveat is that you have this goddamn thing in you that you don't know you got and can't activate it when you want to. So therefore, that's the difference in the human. Can't nothing live forever, but a human is possible if you program the mind. Now, here's the thing about the programming of the mind. You say, well, program the mind, that sounded very harsh there, HerbMan. Well, let me tell you something, that apoptosis, let's go back to here. Apoptosis is a programmed death. Now, this programmed death is under the acknowledgement of keeping balance. Go do your research. Apoptosis is a programmed death. But now, under this programming is that it's going to die to keep the balance. So what I'm trying to get you to understand is that you can commit apoptosis to your lower self. It's not your body. Your lower self ain't killing your body. Your lower self is killing your carnal mind. You say, well, what's the carnal mind? The carnal mind, a carnal mind is when your first response to environmental stimuli is fleshly. A carnal mind is when your first response to environmental stimuli is in a fleshly manner. What it means is that the carnal mind is when your first response to environmental stimuli is more intellect. It's more intellectual. A carnal mind is when your first response to environmental stimuli is on the intellectual side. A carnal mind is when your first response to environmental stimuli is from your fleshly response. Meaning that if you want to fight, you want to fuss, you want to fight, you want to do this. So the carnal mind is when your first response is with the flesh. And everybody's guilty of it. I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. But I'm just explaining to you what that is. Now, that's intellect. What the paradigm wants you to do is started to understand the spiritual mind. The spiritual mind, which is your higher self, which is what you got to use when you get this death sentence on you from this diagnosis. Then the spiritual mind is when your first response is intuitive. Okay? Now you got to be careful with this stuff because it's energy. So you got to be careful with it. Somebody tell you you got diagnosed. If you think that you're going to die, that's going to be your result. So this is I'm explaining it to you, but it's not easy done. Okay. If they tell you got stage 5 cancer and you instantly start thinking that you're gonna die, you see, you're going downhill. If they tell you got AIDS, herpes, and you instantly start thinking that you're gonna die, you're gonna be alone, you can't fuck no more, then you instantly going down. You're going downhill. You see what I'm saying? If they tell you you got autoimmune diseases and all this, and you instantly feel like you're gonna die from whatever the that, then you start. So if you got to be careful with this. So your first response is intuitive, meaning that now you start to think in the future. Okay, so if they tell you got stage 4 kidney failure and you start thinking, damn, I'm gonna die because my kidneys ain't gonna work in the future, you fucked up. Because don't let that be your first response. Your first response should be intuitive, but it should be in a more enlightened and a more impactful understanding. Again, if you sick, that's fine, but you must have a healing mind. That's how you heal yourself. If you poor, it happens to the best of us, but you must have a rich mind in order to go from poor to rich. If you lonely, that's fine. Shit happens. But if you got a partnership mind, really wanting to be partnership with something, then guess what? You'll come out of loneliness in a bit, in a jiffy. Okay? Go ahead and go get suit. No, you ready. So those are the things that you got to understand. Okay? So in all of this paradigm, you must keep in your heart. And I'm finna take some callers. If you guys want to come up and talk to me, put me in the chat and we'll do that. Okay, put me in the chat and we'll do that. But I won't be able to bring viewers up until at least we get to 50,000 likes. Okay, we gotta get to at least 50,000 likes, you guys, and you also must get us to 100,000 in during the live broadcast. But when we get to 50K, if you want to talk to me, give me your birthday, and let's track you along this system. Put me in the chat and we'll do that. But we gotta get to 50K first. Okay. So keep tapping, you guys. I know you guys are typing me, but keep tapping. I'll keep talking. Yeah, great knowledge. I'm not great at it 100%. I've been here before, felt for rounds. Yeah, man. I mean, all of us have. You know what I'm saying? All of us have. All of us have. I've been here before too. And I told you guys, when you come back, you're still progressing. So therefore, I was able to tap into the knowledge through progression of the coming back. So you start to remember. Do this in remembrance of me. So then you start to remember as you keep coming back. Damn, I'm supposed to be something. This just feels too natural to me. Yeah, even though I was a thug, even though I was this, had a garage door business, or even though I was a penitentiary nigga, not a jailhouse nigga, I've been to the penitentiary. But even though I've done all those things, you still can't stop it because the remembrance is coming back. So when I was in jail, I was the powerhouse nigga, the leader. So they ain't want me in there. When I was in the military, I was the powerhouse nigga. They want to get you up out of there. When you was in the corporate America, they looking at this nigga something. They want to get you up out of there. So then I started realizing that it's something. I'm just a fray above the average. I'm a fray above the average. I lead men and women. I got a demeanor and a power about me to let me know that I done been here before. I'm on to something at a different rate, at a different pace than my counterpart. Right? And so there you start to realize that again, even though it's cyclical, it is progressive. Hey, pocket, put them in your pocket. That even though you're cyclical, you're still progressive. Okay? Even though it's cyclical, it is still progressive. Okay? So you're coming from this cosmic energy standpoint. Remember that from the womb of the mind. So you came from the womb, you came from the outer sources, you came from this outer level, this most high state. down into the root causation, which is where the life is, which is where the world is, which is where you're living, and which is where everything going on with you at. But again, this is polarity at its finest, the outermost state with the innermost state. And so the deeper you start going into yourself, you'll realize that skin color don't matter. The deeper you start going within you, you'll realize that language don't matter. The deeper you start going within you, you'll realize that all these things don't matter no more. And then you start stripping away the titles of who this and that and the third. And see, being a great coworker is killing some of y'all. Trying to be a wife is killing some of y'all. Trying to be a mother is killing some of y'all. Trying to be a husband is killing some of y'all. Trying to be a brother is killing some of y'all. Trying to be a friend is killing some of y'all because you're trying to live up to these titles. But the deeper you go on the inside of you, my brothers and sisters, you'll realize that you'll start to get into a core that don't have titles no more, that it ain't no skin color, that it ain't no brother, that it ain't no sister. And that's why Jesus said, a brother would hold thy mother and mother will hold thy son, because I detached from all those things and realized that I'm spirit, and spirit is the thing that you want to cling on to when you're in this body, because the thing is that the body is temporary unless you got an everlasting spirit, and the everlasting spirit is the only thing that can keep hold up to an everlasting body. And what's happening is your spirit is dying, and that's why you dying. You got to be spiritually fit, and you got to be physically fit. You got to have a strong body to withhold a strong spirit, and vice versa. Okay? And the deeper you start going down into who you are, you start seeing that the light is the same color. The light speaks the same language. It is in you where the secret lies. So I'm going to tell my kids that this is church. I appreciate you, Kat. I appreciate you. Yeah, we had church here, man. We definitely had church here. I try to make sure that I reach out to all manner of people. I'm not trying to block nobody, stop nobody. This word is for a black man, a white man, a rich man, a poor man. This word is for a blind man, a seeing man. It's for a crippled man and a walking man. This word right here is for Rico on the block that ain't gonna never see my video, but God still made something for you, Rico. Even though you will never know me, it's still something. And it's still around in the bush for Rico. So this for mama and them that may not ever understand or know me, but we still gotta make something for mama and them. See, you gotta understand when you're trying to create something. See, I'm not here for your association or your affiliation. You don't have to believe in me. You don't have to join me. You don't have to tag team me. There's no way up or down. You don't have to give over a vote, or you don't have to put in amount of money. You don't get no more word than nobody else. See, this is for the equality of all things. So I ain't worried about you. See, this don't require your belief, but it'll still work for you. Okay? It don't require for you to know me. But when I leave this paradigm, if I ever do, you don't have to love me and like me for me to sacrifice my life for you. You don't have to be my family member, my cousin, and my auntie them for me to know how to give. Real shit. Okay? You got to be able to understand that. I don't want nothing from you, but I want you to live forever, pimp. I want you to stop being sick. Stop worrying. I want you to stop violence and start the crime and stop the bullshit. Yo, stop the bullshit. Stop the oppression. Stop the depression. Right? That's what we got to be able to do. So then that means that you got to find other realms of consciousness to be able to get to that level. Excuse me, guys, I had to back away. You know, y'all get me emotional a little bit, but you got to be able to find the center, right? The center in you, the root. Remember that this is the root. The root is here in the center. What is the root cause of your problem? And you get that with your owner's manual. Okay? And if you guys are interested in that owner's manual, please DM me. We'll get you the information that you need. Once we get to 50K, we'll start taking people to come on. So what we're going to try to do is find where you are in life. Where am I? But not only important, who am I? And I'm trying to get you to understand that you are everything that you're looking for. Okay? You are everything that you're looking for. All right, we at 50K, man. So if you want to come up on the live and you guys want to chit chat with me, just let me know. What I got right here. Thanks for sharing. We have lost almost all of our elders who should share this type of thing with us. Yeah, my 95-year-old grandmama scared to die, lacks the wisdom and perspective she should have by now. Fear programming. Now, you know, the thing about mama them is that, you know, you can't blame nobody, little mom, but I think Lily's mom. I think it's Lily's mom. But the thing about that, you guys, is we can't really blame anybody. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. You see what I'm saying? It is what it is. So at the end of the day, if it's going to be what it is, then that's fine. But what we can do is work with what we have. Utilize what we have for the benefit of our people. And I promise you that this is the benefit. Okay? This is the benefit right here, man. So again, if you guys got birthdays, just let me know. My TikTok just went out, so I'm on YouTube right now. So YouTube, y'all got it. So if you want to put your birthdays in, you want to come up on the chat, you want to chit chat with your homie HerbMan, then here we go, man. This is it. This is how we do it. You know what I mean? Otherwise, we will come back on here in a minute, and then I'll do my regular scheduled program, man. But I just want to let you guys know, man, that this polarity thing, this life thing is very much real. And what we get out of this system that we're presenting to you is probably the best thing that I can offer you when it comes to herbs and foods and all this type of stuff that you're looking for, to where it ain't just all over the place talking about this food got this nutrition and that. We ain't doing none of that. You know what I mean? Look for the colors. Understand that you will want a gardener more than a farmer. Get your food from the gardener more than the farmer, because a farmer is mass producing. A gardener is just out there growing shit in their backyard, just trying to feed their family. So whatever little overages that they have, they got. And normally they don't use a whole lot of stuff because they know they're going to eat that. So gardeners are better than farmers when it comes to you shopping for food if you're not going to grow your own food. So start knowing gardeners, or start to learn how to garden yourself. Other little stuff, well water, natural spring water, it always has minerals in it. Okay, natural spring water or water period should always have minerals in it, and then you go for that. Natural sunlight, go for that. Instead of the light bulb, and instead of the blue light from your cell phone, and instead of the amber light from your room lights and all that type of stuff, instead of the fluorescent and the incandescent lights, go to natural sunlight, and you'll start seeing your problems go away with that as well. And then last but not least, start getting you some quality air, not air conditioned, but unconditional air, meaning that you need to go outdoors a little bit more. Okay. So with that being said, man, I'm gonna get up out of here. If you guys got questions or concerns, please email me. We'll get you back the way you need to be. Okay. But the reality of this is that this is the balancing act. This is the paradigm that we should be living in. Okay. And once we start to develop this higher consciousness, and once we start to understand this systematic approach to the root and the shoot and the polarity, again, the body ain't bad. Your body is not your enemy. Okay, your body is not wrong. Okay, your body is not bad. Your body is not your enemy. Okay, if you think that way, you will die. So people are working themselves out to death. People are fasting and starving themselves to death. People are depriving themselves to death, and people are over consuming themselves to death. Because why? You don't value the body. You don't value the body, man. The lower self is not a bad part of you. The lower self is a necessary energy. Okay? The lower self is necessary. The lower self is a necessary energy because it's providing the polarity. The thing that you got to learn is that when the body provides its polarity, that the mind must provide its. And your mind, a lot of times, can't provide the opposite of what it is. So when the body is sick, the mind is sick. When the body is poor, the mind is poor. When the body is lonely, the mind is lonely. And therefore, two negatives can't crank up a car. Two positives can't crank up a car. But a positive and a negative can create the charge that can crank up a car, and also is a part of the atomic structure. So this goes all the way beyond the knowledge that you even understand. But I'm trying to get you to get this in all kinds of ways for you to understand that I am mentality. What I first started this video out with was I am, right? And this is not a God conscious, this is a statement. This I am statement is a energy frequency charge. This I am statement is a energy frequency charge that is necessary during your time of need. I love you guys, man. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. Until next time. Love HerbMan. Peace. Yes, sir. You too. We love you. Peace, peace.